Hey everyone, Kate Boorer and Fiona Pearman joining you for this week's Facebook Live, where we're starting to dig into executive presence. It's something that we've spent a lot of time thinking about, unpacking, and we really want to share some of the insights that we've had on that. And I think the first thing we want to talk about is what is executive presence, Fee? It's something that gets bandied around a lot. But again, there's not really great definitions, which always makes it really hard to kind of achieve the outcome.
Yes, yeah. It's a bit like the word confidence. Lots of people have lots of thoughts and ideas about what it means, but there's no universal definition, which means it can be hard to understand what it is we need to do to show up with that executive presence that's so often cited as a leadership quality that's really necessary to advance and to have, be seen as someone authoritative in your organisation and in your world. And I think one of the things that we know is it's really important that we start to hone in on what will this look like for me? How will I show up in a way that will convey that I have the knowledge, capability, and experience, and that I can hold myself with that presence, even when there's a bit of tension or difficult situations, or perhaps there's some hard questions. All of those things can be moments where we can shrink or contract. And what we want to be able to do from an executive presence perspective is really be able to stay with the discomfort and still share the good stuff.
Yeah, I think executive presence is very much around being seen, heard, listened to, felt, like energetically felt in a room, so that your entire being, like all of who you are, is experienced by your key stakeholders. And I think this is where sometimes we can get into difficulty, because we think we've got to do more, be more, work harder, know more, all of those sorts of things. What we know is this is all about revealing more of who you are. This is about really honoring your authenticity, being really congruent and revealing that congruence and alignment and allowing people to feel that alignment. I think it's important to know what it's not, and it's not boastful. It's not big noting ourselves, but of course, these are some of the things that often stop us from really stepping into our full executive and present self.
And it's okay to notice that. It's okay to notice perhaps you are worried about those things. We know generally that if you're worried, it's unlikely that you're going to be, seen as boastful. You're going to be seen as self-promoting, and just being willing to test and experiment and learn around this, because it is very much, I think we focus so much, Kate, on what we need to do in order to have this executive presence. And what we really know, and in the workshops we run and working with many women, it's also how we're being. It's both. Yes, of course, what you're doing will have impact, but it will have far more impact when you're really congruent, when you're present, when all of you is available to whatever's going on. And that's the opportunity here. And that's what we love seeing, is when people can drop into, there is a certain amount of vulnerability to being willing to do this. And we love that, because it means people get to experience all of you. And that's what's powerful.
Yeah. And I think when you talk about impact and influence, that's why it's really important. That's why executive presence is really important when we think about this in context of you and your career, because we know it's a very busy, noisy world. There's lots, of things that people need to be across, lots of messages, lots of stakeholders and relationships to manage. If you want to show up and be seen, heard, valued, and recognized for the incredible work that you do in what is a very noisy world, if you want to have influence and impact with those key stakeholders, build relationship and trust, then this executive presence is really crucial. Because I think what's important about executive presence is because it's alignment of what you say, what you do, your behaviors, your actions, your words, your body language. It's all forms of communication across multiple different levels. Because it's alignment of that, inherently it's the fast track to building trust with stakeholders.
And this is crucial, right? Because we're not going to have presence with other people unless they feel they can lean into the conversation. They can trust us that what we're saying has real gravitas and we've thought it through, and we're holding it with real intentionality. And the more we show up like that, the more we are willing to really explore what's going on, getting curious with ourselves and getting curious with any dynamic we're in, people will experience us differently. And that is when we shift from just having a certain level of impact to really having that level of impact we see when we are in a room with someone who has that executive presence.
So lots to dig into executive presence over the next couple of weeks. An opportunity, notice what you're doing versus what you're being and how you're showing up in a room. Also notice, look around your organization, who has incredible executive presence, and just, get curious about what they do, how they show up, what they don't do. Equally, it can be really great lessons. We're going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed today's confidence conversation, we'd love for you to like it, share it with your network. Of course, head over to our Facebook page, follow us there. Lots of incredible videos to dig into, a whole library, a couple of years now, Fee, of incredible videos. So head over there. And of course, when you're ready to go deeper with your relationship with core confidence, visit coreconfidence.com.au.